everyone's talking about social media or AI, and you folks are the experts and all that stuff. So I guess my first topic in question is, how can creators, who they are really their own media companies, how can creators and governments and cities all work together to benefit everybody? Any ideas, any impressions?
I'll take the first one. No, first of all, thank you very much. Very excited to be here. I think taking an example from our own country, India, something which is very interesting is that there are a lot of missions by the government, but their distribution is solely done by creators. We have Raj, who's one of the most famous creators of India. He's just partnered with the ICC. So I think creators and entrepreneurs play a very significant role in distribution to the last man standing. If you talk about one of our biggest missions, which is the Pulse Polio mission, India had a big problem with polio. Today we are polio free because of one actor. His name was Amitabh Bachchan, who is one of our most famous Bollywood actors. His sustained, consistent, repeated message of giving 2 drops of polio dose to your kids has just played it's just a part of our culture now. If you talk about in 2014, we had an open defecation rate, like in India, we have close to 700,000 villages, out of which 400,000 villages did not have washrooms. So today that ratio is actually very small because of a lot of Bollywood, and Bollywood is very famous in India. So if an actor says something, it gets empaneled in the minds and hearts of people. So I think creators play a very important role in distribution of these policies.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Murad. Natalie Osman, Project Follow Me Too. We actually work extensively here in the region, and we would act as an agency ourselves. So the government would set up the global strategy. We as creators would act as an agency and analyze that strategy and create content for that according to their needs. So as an example, with Saudi, we would work and go and target all the stereotypes that there are in the world about this country, and we would create content around that. And I think this strategy allows you not just to bombard with random content, but work directly with the governmental strategies.
My name is Jeanette Reyes, Miss News Lady on social media. I think one of the ways that the government can work closely with content creators is to treat them as translators instead of megaphones. There's this, I think government and also just larger companies that work with brands or with influencers rather, kind of want to give them the message and want them to just pass it along to their audience. But I think there needs to be more trust in influencers, that they know their audience. We know how they want to hear the message, what cultural aspects might really strike a tone, and to trust us for even storytelling, because sometimes governments get so caught up in policy. And when you pass along policy to the audience without any kind of translation or contextualizing, it often falls on deaf ears. So if we could be treated as more of partners that are brought on early on, as opposed to a pass-through, I think the relationship would be much more effective and successful.
And I'm going to follow up with you, because you used to be in news media like I am. What are you seeing the roles changing? Like, are creators now becoming the new news medias?
That's a great question. I'm a little torn on that, and it's interesting because now I'm on the other side, right? I was a journalist for 12 years in DC and Philadelphia, and I think journalists serve a very specific purpose. We have training. We've honed our skills over many years in different environments, whether it's breaking news or live interviews, that type of thing. But we also have ethics that we live and die by. I mean, our credibility is our currency. Without it, we're nothing. And it's not that I don't believe creators have that, but I think it tends to be a little looser there, and the standards tend to be a little lower. So I think there's a possibility for creators to be a form of journalists, but I think there needs to be a little more training there and information as to what it means to be the person who's being trusted with information, and the responsibility that you have to your audience, that it's less about you. You're the messenger, not the message. In news, we are taught that it's not about you. You are passing along a message, and your most important goal is to be accurate.
Lamb.
Hi, my name is Lam on Ling and Lam, myself and my wife. I think this is such a powerful conversation because I feel like we as creators, we have become a safe space for members of the society. You know, we right now, the members of the society see us as, okay, no more gatekeeping. So if we're partnering with the government, and remember, government change in some countries after 4 years, it has to be in a way that we are not being used, to further any political agenda, because then that takes us right back to where the members of the society used to be. But right now, the reason why people follow us, millions of followers across the world, is because they just feel safe. They're like, all right, I'm hearing from you guys directly. So if we're partnering with government, it has to be beyond just a conversation like this. It has to be carefully, what is the partnership? Is it partnership that will benefit members of the society 20 years from now? I'm not talking about like partnership that helps me stay in office. I'm talking about partnership that truly impacts the lives of generations to come. Now we're having a proper conversation. If the government can look beyond their immediate political need and partner with creators for long-term impact, that way, members of the society who have trusted us as a safe space will continue to trust us.
Very cool. But I'm a follow-up on that, Lam. That was very good, by the way. A follow-up is, obviously in America, you said, trust and safe space, but there are obviously creators on one side of politics that are pushing a propaganda, and creators on the other side of politics pushing the propaganda. Like, it's great when their creators are trying to stop polio. That's a noble cause. But how do we defend against propaganda? How do we defend against, creators that aren't have that journalistic integrity, or maybe they're pushing something, their beliefs, instead of pushing the truth?
Well, this is where integrity comes to play. As creators, regardless of what political party you're truly standing behind, because remember, we are all complaining about how we've been treated. There is a reason why we feel a certain way about each political party, and some people believe they want to be for each of them. I feel like you must look at yourself as a human, and the trust that the community or the society has now trusted following you, to say to yourself, am I standing for something positive? Or is this just my own selfish, So again, it all boils down to integrity as creators, because remember, you are directly impacting lives right there on your post. The moment you click post, it's right there. It is on you. So you're going to live without consequence. Not whoever sent you. It is you. It is your channel. They followed you because they fell in love with you for a certain reason. You don't want to break that trust.
Perfect. Steve. Thank you, Lam.
I mean, I love the point that Lam brought up, but I think one of the most important things on top of governments working with creators is kind of the choice of government to choose the right creator as well. And so as much as creators have a lot of ethical dilemma in choosing what it is that they speak about or what it is that they support, it's also on the behalf of the government to choose and have the right autonomy to choose the right creator for them. And so if I have to make an example, because I'm in the food industry, it's almost like going to a restaurant. I imagine that when you choose to go to a restaurant, you have the entire host of options from what I'm going to eat, what cuisine, even when you get to the restaurant, where I'd like to be seated, what I'd like to have. And after that point, everything is given to you by the chef. You trust the chef to create what it is that they do. And so part of it is that you, or the government in this case, will take the opportunity to take their due diligence and choose the right creator. And through that, the creator will respond in the best way possible. And that's how the best message can be sent through from government to the creator.
Thank you, Stephen. Pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Simon Kagwanjala. I'm from Uganda. For us to be relevant as creators, I think we should be integrated in the entire process chain, from concept development to execution. on a number of occasions, we are called in when trouble hits the fan. So, yet, if we actually got in there, in the kitchen, in the preparation, I believe would be relevant. Greetings from Uganda.
Thank you. So we've been talking about partnerships. Let's talk about what cities and governments can do to help creators and help entrepreneurs. Like Dubai is very forward thinking and they want to be a city and a region for creators and creativity. What policies or programs can cities do and governments do to support the creative class and to attract a lot of creators into their worlds and into their ecosystems? What would you want from your government as a creator?
Hi, my name is Mr. Taster. I'm a food blogger, 15 years working with 5 million followers, 200 million unique visitors. I was one of the first person that got golden visa from the government in Dubai. So I moved to Dubai. I used to live in Iran. I'm British Iranian. And from day one, I was supported by the government. Big helps. Not only golden visa, like they helped me with like pushing my content. I was in the newspapers, I was in the TV. So without doing anything, I mean, as a creator, I was struggling for the first days because it was like different market, and it was very difficult to get customers here. But government pushed me a lot, and now I'm very happy living in Dubai for 4 years now. I think the creator, they don't need money. Just having a good social media with good numbers can help them to create like different jobs for different people as well. When I moved here, I had 50 people working in my offices. So I shut down my offices in Iran and I moved to Dubai. And now I start from zero, from scratch again. Now I've got 20 people working for me now. So yeah, I think government can help a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
What I wanted to say is that we really admire what Dubai is doing in terms of creator economy. As he said, the Creator HQ established a facility that will allow you to get the visa. That's what I would want from my country. It allows you to develop as a creator. They have academies here, and they've developed several academies subsidizing the creators. I wouldn't say the creators don't need money. I would say they would need a lot of money to propel and create a lot of really interesting content out of boundaries. Creator HQ would analyze your business, and you're not only creator on social media. If you have your product, if you have your business, production, product, they would help you develop that product. So that's what I would want from my country to help me in all sorts of fields, not giving me money directly, but giving me possibilities and building the infrastructure for that.
Yes, sir.
Something very interesting happened yesterday in our budget in India. 15,000 creator labs were announced, and the goal of the government was to actually incentivize students to take up their passion and start creating content. I think for a country like India, at least, we have 1 billion people online spending 6 hours and 49 minutes each day on the internet, 51% of that on social media. Becomes very critical for people. And I'm an introvert. I started my creator journey last year. I'm an entrepreneur, built my business, sold it. And then I realized every single person on the planet needs to be a creator. Because by the end of the day, the fight is for attention. And if you can create good content for the society, if you can help people, the idea before posting, which my colleague said beautifully was, can you post something that can help other people be better and can you measure that impact somehow? So I think governments can do a lot, especially by lending their credibility to creators. The day government programs partner with smaller creators, that gives them hope. That gives them a lot of ability, because if you talk about India, we have 4.5 million creators, but only 600,000 of them are able to monetize, and that to monetization isn't that large. Still, just 3.5% of our creators are able to make a large payout for themselves. So if we can help that 3.5% go to say 20%, that's a significant economic impact in my view.
Thank you. Anyone down?
So I'm going to keep it quite short and sweet, but it probably backs up what everyone else is saying. But basically, every other government should just pretty much follow what Dubai is doing and the Creator HQ. And if you do that, it's going to go in the right direction. It's exactly what needs to be done.
Woody, what specifically? I know we've been touching on it a bit. But.
So yeah, like the support network for everyone. I think that the infrastructure's there. They're obviously putting a lot of funds behind it. The education, the support. They're very forward thinking. So it's all of those sort of things, really.
That's great. In terms of, in impact, many of you have millions and millions of followers. You have huge influence, huge impact. How do you see that responsibility? How do you use your communities to do good? And tell me about that pressure. Do you feel pressure? Do you feel responsibility? Like, tell me what the power of your message can be.
Yeah, sure. Does this work? Hey guys, so I came here 17 years ago, and I started a few companies, 2 of them very large actually. We now have 200 million users, but I'm not here to plug my business. It's very important to emphasize what you guys have done. So I'm not a creator by definition. I became a creator after I was already an entrepreneur. And I started vlogging daily on YouTube 10 years ago here. And it was very difficult because they laughed at me, my partners, obviously. They said, "This is for kids. Why are you doing this? Are you embarrassing yourself?" And I said, "Yeah, I do today, but tomorrow you'll embarrass yourself because it's going to change." So my question was always, what are you doing today that sounds weird that's going to be considered normal in 5 years? I think when you all went online, you kind of felt this first jump into the cold water. Like, everybody's watching me, and my camera is the only thing I see, but hundreds of thousands or even millions of people are seeing you. So I think the government here has realized this very early on, and they have encouraged this. It's not a taboo anymore to be a businessman or woman and be on social media. I mean, it sounds weird maybe today, right, that I say this, but only 10 years ago, I was ridiculed. I was a YouTuber CEO. I don't even know what that means. It's just, they gave me that name. So, but we have a responsibility now, because now the governments have realized this. I think Dubai is probably the first one who has actually embraced it, that we have to be careful of the next weird thing that I'm going to say. Probably is going to sound weird today, but in 5 years, it's going to be considered normal. And I think the weird thing is that if we use AI the way we use AI today, I'll give you an example. We're collecting 11 billion data points about our customers every day. So the lazy approach is, let's just connect to these large LLMs, these generative models, which basically you are using, ChatGPT and so on. And if you're using the closed source models and you're just connecting to them, you are transferring data to them. And that data is gold. Now, in the beginning, you're going to get great answers, but in 5 years, you're going to be replaced. So the first thing we have to realize is be careful sharing data, because data is all that AI needs to replace you. So we have not shared any of our consumer data. This was the first learning, but it made us slower. So we needed to create systems. It took us a year that is able to not share data, but still able to use AI. So there is open source systems, which suck, to be honest. They're not good. So we had to use closed source systems. The difference is, one, you see the code, the other one doesn't really give you access to code. But generally, we were able to use the closed source systems that are better without sharing data. So for the sake of the government and ultimately the economy, don't share your data just for the sake of a quick win. And especially if you're running businesses, don't share your customers' data. I think that is very important.
Very cool. I think you had.
Sorry, I just wanted to go back to the government support.
Yes.
Real quick, because we talk about how the government can support you, but I think support in pay discrepancy, transparency, and timely payment. I feel like this is not a new business anymore, and we need more structure around how people get paid. I think creators try to communicate with each other and make sure it's fair and share the information that we can, but there should be something from the government that makes sure people are being supported and taken care of from agencies with creators and making sure.
A lot of like transparency and.
Yeah, transparency, but also just timely payments. You know, we shouldn't wait 60, 90. What are the parameters? What are the recourses? What's the follow-up besides us running around or agencies running around or managers running around and following up to get paid? I feel like this is big business, so we should treat it as such.
Very cool. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Yusra Mardini. I am an Olympic swimmer, and I just want to talk about like the pressure that you talked about as a creator. I started as an athlete, and my focus was always, you know, gold medals. Was always winning. I was always like in my own tunnel vision. I knew nothing about creating. At the age of 18, I participated at the Olympics with the first ever refugee Olympic team, and I understood that I actually have a mission. I went with maybe 5,000 followers, I came back with 50,000 followers. And then when I turned 19, I was appointed the youngest ever Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, which meant I needed to learn. I had support from UNHCR. I didn't have a government to be supported by, but I was supported by Germany, the host country. So it is really important. Now I have 1 million followers, which is, you know, not a lot, not compared to everyone else, but it is a lot.
That's a lot. A million is a lot.
Yeah.
Can I borrow some? I need more followers.
Of course. But yeah, like along the years, I got to tell my story, and I got to tell people how we lived back in Syria and how I had this dream of becoming an Olympian since I was 9 years old. And then I became a public speaker, and then Netflix made a movie about my life. So slowly I realized that actually the impact that my story is making, it's not only about my story, it's about refugees all around the world. I became someone that represents what it means to change the perception about refugees, because a lot of people don't actually know enough. A lot of people are like, oh, you're pretty, how are you a refugee? You're like wearing nice clothes. And I'm like, that's not the... Refugees are normal people. They have hopes and dreams. They, you know, go to the host country and they have the same ambitions. They want to work hard. So yeah, speaking of refugees and creators that support that topic, I think it's very, very important to have the support of the people, of the government, because I was able to open my own nonprofit organization and give the opportunity to athletes all around the world to be able to train in refugee camps all over the world. So I think it's very, very important to realize that we have a mission, and it's not just me waking up every day wearing nice clothes and then, you know, going to work and back. I think we have a responsibility to all stand together and be able to support each other. Thank you.
It's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that.
Hi there, I'm Miles. It sounds like already there's a bit of a tension between transparency and non-transparency. Both points completely valid. We all want to learn more. You know, this new paradigm that we're in, AI, insofar as how governments can help, there's this institutional vacuum. I came from Los Angeles. From an American point of view, you know, the government finds itself in a race with China to be the dominant force, not knowing what the end goal is, but we need to get there first. So you're not going to see much regulation from the government. Politicians don't want to talk about this in depth because there's going to be tremendous job displacement. It's a real thing, we're already seeing it, but let's not talk about it right now. And then, of course, big tech doesn't want to talk about it because they have a fiduciary responsibility for growth to their shareholders. It's how capital C capitalism works. but we want to know what the heck is going on. The first use of AI broadly from a consumer point of view was in algorithms. All of you have millions and millions of followers. Well, how did the consumer see you? We don't really know how those algorithms worked. We thought we did. We subscribed to people, and then it became much more efficient in immediately latching onto your attention. Years ago, I created a technology that turned me into Tom Cruise. I put it on TikTok. It got billions of views. That was 5, 6 years ago. That seems quaint at now what, the filters can automatically do on TikTok and Instagram and all that, and translate you immediately, which is extremely relevant. But what you hope for in the government, I imagine, is that the future of elected leaders are using this toolkit. Forget politics or issues. This current newly elected mayor from New York, that guy was a content creator and incredibly effective at it. Well, you feel like you can talk to him, whereas it wasn't too long ago, senators would grill Mark Zuckerberg saying, Mr. Zuckerberg, how do I Bluetooth this photo to my niece? So affluency, I think, is what you want, even though things are changing dramatically and in real time. And what was launched today is, orders of magnitude of what existed a month ago. But I think conversation like this, there's no substitute for it, and in person, because yes, everybody should be an influencer, and every brand should be a content. But it wasn't too long ago, all these content creators, I think if you just ask most people, what movie have you seen recently? What is the attention economy? What inspires our imagination? How are stories told? All that's changing rapidly.
Miles, thank you. Very smart. Can I put you on the spot for a second? We're talking about about models between government and influencers. The person next to me is in government and an influencer. Could you quick introduce yourself?
Yes. Well, hello, my name is Lavinia. I'm the First Lady of Ecuador. I'm the youngest First Lady, not only in my country, but also around the world. And before I became a First Lady, I was an influencer focused on nutrition. And talking about my experience from an official role, because in my country the First Lady didn't have one, but you still look, you're still an image of the government. I create a foundation. I can proudly say is a successful foundation that in 2 years, without government support, but creating an ecosystem of collaboration between the private sector, the international organizations, the academia, and also the influencers are able to help in just 2 years 500,000 women to give real opportunities to get economic independence. I think what it started as my weakness, because I was young, I was an influencer, and to be honest, it's really hard to get confidence between the private sector and the government. But when you work with all this ecosystem together, you're capable of change the things.
Very, very cool. As an influencer, what do you think about in terms of like with your government, communicating to your citizens? What insight do you have, and how how do you use your experiences to kind of get the messages and policies across?
I think right now information is going very fast. It's not like it used to be before. Like what you see, I don't know, in Instagram can be in Twitter, it can be in Facebook, but can be in TikTok very fast. And people need to trust. Right now, the world is changing. Everything is happening so fast. And being an influencer and how to connect with people is a way to get their trust. And just for giving an example, my husband is also the youngest president elected. And here strange was TikTok. The way he was communicated, that wasn't how people is used to see, like how you tell your proposals, your ideas, and the way you connect with the music, with the trends. is what make him win, and also is why young people, for example, in my country, is a very young country. 14% of people is between 15 and 50 years, no, 15 and 35 years old, and that was the only way to get them attention and want them like to vote and choose for the right option.
Did you advise the president on his campaign?
And not really. I think we from each side have like our strength. I think I'm more easily to connect with my people, to the women, to the families because of my role as a mother, as a young lady, and like as a true story, because I think what wants people right now is feel connect with the person that is going to represent you, because you need someone that knows what you're feeling and what are your needs and what you're looking for to advance.
Thank you. That was great. I've been asking the questions, but now I want to let you guys ask each other questions for a minute. Like, does anyone have a topic or want to ask someone or have another interesting thing to pose to this really powerful group here? Oh, you have the mic. Yeah.
I want to talk more about the social impact that us influencers can do to change the world and help the communities in need. By the way, I'm Orkun. I'm from Istanbul. I've been on YouTube for 18 years. That's my life. And last year, we did a huge campaign with Mr. Beast called Team Water to help over 2 million people in Africa to get clean water with the help of the creators, the biggest creators in the world. And we fundraised millions of dollars, and it was huge. It was the first time I felt useful in my life. And this year, it's going to be different because with the help of the government UAE, we are making another huge campaign, but it's going to be pre-funded this time. So we won't be fundraising any money. And this year, we're going to help millions of people in Ghana in need. So I believe it's a really important mission for us to do that. And by connecting the government and the biggest creators like us in the world, we can make this difference.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I, first of all, think that's absolutely incredible. I can't wait to learn more about that clean water campaign. My name is Miranda McKeon. I'm 24, and where my role is in social impact is that when I was 19 attending university, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was super surprising as I have no family history, and it was stage 3, pretty advanced. So I think immediately I had already built a platform of pretty good size, but I came into a sense of purpose, like you had said, for the first time in my life, and that was for advocating for women's health and sharing my story to encourage other young women to pursue methods of early detection and self-screening, etc. Now, tying this back to the conversation that we're having about government, the US, I mean, as we all know, is quite a tumultuous place right now, and it's controversial to share your own opinions online because no matter what you believe in, you're ostracizing, give or take 50 to 60% of the country. However, I think when I take on a role of social impact, and I take that very, very seriously because I know as a young woman who resonates with other young women, I have the power to literally save and change young women's lives as breast cancer rates are only increasing. And it's disappointing that under the current administration, the NIH and the AHA has a bunch of funding has been cut. And so as much as I could feel more timid or meek in the current political climate, I think it's an interesting conversation that we get to have as creators. Like, when do you decide where you draw the line of sharing your personal beliefs when, things are on the ballot that really matter? So that's something that I've been outspoken about, because the fact of the matter is I can do as much work on my own personal platform and hope that, by sharing with millions, that reaches someone, and I can speak at galas and I can be an advocate in the private sector, but we really do need government funding. And the policies that you create in the government signals what is important in the private sector as well. So when you take away those organizations or those government programs, you're telling everyone that that's not important enough to fund within the private sector as well, which is disappointing and somewhere where I feel like raising my voice. So I'd be curious if any other creators have had personal experience like that. And the US is an amazing place to be, and it's also somewhere where when you want to get something across, you have to be a little bit louder.
Thanks, Miranda. That was great. Anybody? Oh, yes, sir.
I want to bring in a little bit different perspective, because I think we talked about that we all have an impact, and we can see this. We can also see this in studies, by the way. So I'm a YouTuber, but I also wrote my PhD about educational videos. And in numbers, we can see, and this study is some years ago, that 4 or 5 students now learn with platforms like YouTube. So it has a huge impact. What bothers me sometimes is, because we were talking about what can a government do, is that we have this tool, it has a positive impact, and the pressure of like behaving correctly is all on creators, which is okay, because I mean, we have responsibility. But I think if I would be a government, I would also think about like, how can I give more responsibility back to the community, to the people watching it? And what I think is interesting about it is that we never teach kids, but also adults, how to use this platform. And this is super interesting, because maybe the last study I did in my PhD, we looked at how people consume social media. And we let them rate like, hey, what do you think is a healthy consumption time, what content you want to watch, and so on. And they had pretty straightforward ideas of that. And then at the end of the study, we examined their social media use. So we looked at their screen time, we looked what content they consume, and so on. And it was interesting because there was a huge gap. People were watching social media almost twice as much as they think that is healthy. And I think one of the reasons of this is that we never educate people on how to use social media. Social media can have a great impact, a positive impact. It can be a great platform for education, but it also has some negative sides. And we can reduce these if we teach people how to use social media. And to be honest, I come from Germany. I can't see this anywhere there. And I don't know from other examples where people do this. So maybe as an idea out there to governments around the world, maybe this is something we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Love it. You wanted to?
Oh.
Thank you. My name is Betty Amongi. I'm a minister from Uganda. I'm the Minister of Gender, Labor, and Social Development. And I wanted to just probably say something a little bit about the perspective of government in the context of what you're raising. I think the first issue for government when we sit is that if you have a following, what do I want to get from you? As a government, I want to get your followers so that my policy as a government and my issue and manifesto and agenda can be passed to your followers. And so government will not give you the leverage so much that you say anything. They will define what you have to say, what they want you to say. And in most circumstances, it will be issues around which are not controversial, which are not polarizing, which are not political. That's why most of you who have talked here, even at the UN level, you're going to be given issues around refugee, issues around climate change, gender, violence, awareness creation. Because again, when you have followers, we do not want you to polarize your followers. We want you to push the issues that matters. What are the issues that deals with, for example, climate change, issues around poverty, issues around social matters for the community. And so a lot of government now is supporting with startup, with innovation funds, with issues around financing, and supporting you to create awareness to the community. So while it is true that you control a number of followers, it is also true that government will not relegate some of the core issues that we feel that are so polarizing and difficult. For instance, it will be difficult for Trump to give you issues around immigration. It will be very difficult for a government to give you a matter to deal with related, for example, on trade and logistics, because trade and tariffs are very difficult issues that requires bilateral negotiations, international negotiations, and so on. So I think for me, it is more about ensuring that as a private sector, you play a very important role to government. The people who follow you, the content that you create can support government in ensuring that we attract tourism, we promote a lot of the other social issues, but also to understand that there are many other topics that become polarizing that will be very difficult for government to work with. But also, it depends on what your content are. Content, for example, like fintech, will be a content that I, as government, would want you to start with me, because we will develop together if you are in fintech creator. But if you are on social creation, entertainment, fashion, and all that, it will also be that you are the expert, and I will give you what I feel is the content for government for you to push to your followers. So this is the relationship that I think we develop and work with as government and you as the content creators and the influencers. Thank you.
Thank you for this perspective. That's great.
Hello. Thank you. It's Uganda again. And I'm glad my minister is here. That makes me really proud. You asked us to ask each other questions. Perhaps I should ask you, does government know you're here? Do they even care that you're attending this summit? That's how indifferent they are towards content creators. So let's do our thing. Perhaps they'll wake up someday. I'm quite envious of India and how content creation has transformed the entire conversation. Perhaps if we benchmarked in the same way, wherever we go in our countries, we'll become more impactful without asking too much from government, because the role of government is to preserve themselves for another term. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you had a...
Thank you. Thank you. My name is András Harato, but some of them might know me as Hyder Payne Harold, and I think I'm the oldest guy in this circle. You all might be my sons and daughters, or grandson and granddaughters. And probably I'm the only one who became famous without my will. But I have to realize that popularity means responsibility as well. So me and my small some group, we are working together, are trying to do something good for the sake of the whole world, not for our own sake. So that's why we have an initiative to first we are working on a documentary movie, and which if we can sell it for money, we want to turn this money to establish for the support of young technical people, because I think the engine of the technical process are engineers, technicians, and there are many of talented people in this field who are unable to have enough education to fulfill their goals. And probably this foundation we are working on it can help those people to make this world a better place somehow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thanks. I think Jeanette, did you have?
As we talk a lot here about government and the support we'd like and the things that concern us and all of that, it made me think about the responsibility that we have that I think we kind of unknowingly or unintentionally signed up for. I think many of us, if not most of us, got on social media, maybe just enjoyed what we were doing, and then ended up getting a following, as opposed to saying, I want to be a content creator with millions of followers. And we have this immense responsibility with followings often larger than large media companies, right? Like news media companies. And we often set the tone for conversations. We direct the narrative. We're the ones who shine a light on whatever topic we want, that unintentionally or intentionally, that ends up kind of dominating the conversation or going viral. And it made me think, while I come from the background of news where we knowingly signed up for the responsibility, agreed to abide by the ethics, agreed to keep our credibility intact, more and more we're finding people like us who didn't come from that background having much larger audiences than we ever imagined. And I just hope that we realize just how serious that is, especially this day and age where most people get their information, they get their news, heck, they get their opinions on social media. And what they see you saying as a trusted person, right? They see you as a friend versus perhaps someone on the news who increasingly, unfortunately, they're not trusting as much. You're their person. You're their person who they might look to. Hey, what does so-and-so think about this? Are they concerned? Are they jumping on board? And I just hope that we're conscious of that, and we're critical and educated when it comes to the partnerships that we decide to take part in, the brands that we decide to work with, the government initiatives that we decide to join in on, that we're making informed decisions, realizing that we're influencing how people act, how people vote, and how people move. And I think increasingly the government itself is seeing that we have much more influence than was ever imagined. And I think it's I would even say it's sacred and it's unprecedented. And I also think it's exciting because we get to kind of set the tone for this new generation of what media looks like, what social media looks like, and what information looks like in this day and age.
Awesome. Thank you. Right next to Justine.
Hello, everyone. I'm Justine, and my YouTube channel is turning 20 years old this year, which is kind of wild. And I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen basically YouTube from the beginning. And now what I'm seeing is the whole next generation of AI content. Now, I am going to say that I actually really love AI. I voluntarily gave Sora my entire avatar that anyone can make a video with me, which probably may be a bad idea. But much like the government now regulates FTC for putting ads, I think it's going to be extremely important going forward that AI content is labeled as AI. And I realized this because I tried to pull a fast one over my 6-year-old niece. I made this incredible video on Sora. I thought she was going to believe that it was actually me. And the second that I showed it to her, she goes, "Is this AI?" And I looked at her and I was so shook because I had no idea that she even knew what that was. And then I started asking her, I'm like, well, how do you know what AI is? And she's like, oh, I just know. And I looked at her and it was shocking because among my sister's advice, I ended up getting her an iPad a few years ago. So the things that she has been learning because of watching YouTube and the amount of AI content and the times that she goes to my sister and has to ask, is this real? Is this AI? Was shocking. So I feel like going forward, I think, governments and people are going to, and especially social networks, there needs to be things in place where kids can be protected. Adults can be protected. I mean, if I see one more animal video that I fall for and I think it's real, like, it's really upsetting. And those are just animal videos. And we're seeing this through, so much fake news. And people, and as you were saying, the responsibility of journalists. I mean, so much of this is being turned to AI that it is hard to figure out what is real. And I think that's going to be, it's a lot of our responsibility, but it's also going to come from the higher ups as well.
Nice, Justine. Yes, sir.
Oh, it's weird. Thank you. We've been trying to get your attention down here.
And then we'll go down there, yeah. You're far. I need like a telescope. You guys are far away.
And under the umbrella. So my name is Alexandra Lourdes, and I actually am in the small business content creator world. So I actually own a small business in Las Vegas. It's a donut shop, and we became viral because of social media. So we had millions of views on our donut shop, and I just wanted to say, as far as for social impact, what actually made us like the most viral was what I was doing as the small business owner, and they wanted to see kind of behind the scenes of what I did. Like I turned a negative into a completely different scenario. So we actually, during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was our slowest days, and we had a lot of extra donuts. And at the end of the night, I said, instead of throwing these away like most businesses would do, I actually packed them all up and we gave them to hospitals, to fire stations, to the homeless. And those videos ended up getting like 40, 50 million views. And that actually changed the way, the perspective of how people saw us as a business. And I thought that was really cool. And for any small business owners or people who actually deal with small businesses, it's just interesting to see when you back the community, how much stronger they back you. So I just think if you don't realize or don't think that there's a way you can help your community or help the society, I feel like there's really unique ways you could do it and actually turn it into content that people really, really want to see. And the trend I see on social media is actually people want to see that. People want to see what you do for your community and what you're going to do for your community so that that way they can support you. So.
Great, thank you. Oh, Steve asked you.
Yeah, and I think I would love to jump off of that. And she speaks about small creators and small businesses, and it's just a testament to how there are people here with very different experiences, you know, large corporations to smaller creators. And it's interesting how you can see that from story to story, that there are people who have gained their following, gained their awareness in different ways. Some people with purpose from the beginning, and some people finding it later, or for example, having a business and finding purpose within the business. And it's kind of, to me, it's interesting because we have obviously some members of government here as well as the creators, and this is obviously a creator-driven event, and so a lot of the bias is towards creators, but I think it's also important to see or tell that institutions that while they have the complete right to want to share the messages globally, it kind of dilutes the message that we have, and that's entirely okay. You know, within ministries and within government, for things to be unbiased and for them to be unpolitical, then they need to be kind of more globally diverse and more accessible to more populations. And it's important that those things are handled, which is why governments exist and why institutions exist. But creators, on the other hand, are not necessarily in need of government to expand and show off. I think creators are just here and growing and becoming something that it will naturally become unignorable for governments. And so I think it's important to notice that amongst everybody, through when they find their purpose and how they find it, just the incredible impact that they can have when it's something that they're actually passionate about and care for it. And so, of course, creators serve the purpose of sharing messages to everybody, but it's just immediately understandable that when it matters to you, it makes so much more of an impact. For example, local communities, things surrounding things like I've done, for example, where giving scholarships to people to go to culinary school, opportunities that you may never be able to have the chance to afford or a cost because you were never in that position before. And so I think that while it is important to kind of cater towards these institutions, it is up to them ultimately, and this sounds haughty, but it's up to them to understand that we are here to be used and take advantage of, but we're not seeking and going out of our way to find them, because we truly have so much growth and potential in the future that it's not up to us to go to the government, but the government to notice how important we will be.
Thank you. Thanks. Who hasn't spoken yet? Sorry. Up on stage.
Hello, it's Didem from Turkey. I'm an agency owner, so I'm working with creators mostly. And I want to talk about a good example about the collaboration between the governments and the creators. One of the industries that we're serving for is supplements and OTC products. And we have strict regulations about the promotion and advertising of these products to protect public health, and also to not to give misinformation. So, and the brands and also the creators were receiving so many penalties because of wrong way of communicating about the products. Then public authorities stepped in and they started to initiate regulatory training about how to promote these products. So all the creators started to attend to the trainings and learn about the regulations and how can they talk about the supplements or the OTC products and what are the limitations. And at the end, it was the moment of turning a problem into a learning moment, and it significantly eased our way of working with the brands and also with the creators as the agencies.
Thank you. Very cool. And then you can take us home, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. Amazing conversation. My name is Belumi Nubi. I think fundamentally, I just want to really echo the power we have as creators. Fundamentally, attention is the new currency, both from new media, old media. What people watch is who have the power, and we are what people watch. So as creators, I just want us to always remember that responsibilities that we have. I glued to global fame when I did a solo drive from London, UK to Lagos, Nigeria, driving over 10,000 kilometers across 17 different countries by myself. It was said it was impossible to do it as a woman. And the messaging really was that audacity to be taking up space. And the impact of that is me getting messages of people saying, a 70-year-old writing to me and saying, I watched your whole journey, the whole 74 days, because I documented it and shared it on social media. And she said, for 70 years, people have told me that I couldn't do things. And after seeing your journey, I start living from this moment. It's people leaving toxic relationships or going back to school or, relocating to destinations. So I really just want to remind us of the power that we hold as creators. It's not just content, it's not just showing up, but really understanding that people are making decisions that impact their life, their communities, just based on what we put out there. And I'm so grateful to be in this space and continue to have this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I think we are out of time. I appreciate everyone's attention. Big thank you to everyone here. Big thank you to the World Government Summit for assembling everyone. I'm sure these great conversations will continue the rest few days. And again, I'm Steve from Forbes. I cover entrepreneurs and creators, so I'd love to meet everybody and hear your stories, but just thank you for this really powerful session. Thanks. You did.